2 weeks ago, I hosted a really big full day photo shoot with paid models, paid photographer, big studio, lots of logistics, over 70 looks for a 10-hour day. And it was a massive project to host, really the first full big studio shoot that I've done. And I learned a lot of lessons, and I wanted to kind of jump on here real quick and share what I learned during this process to hopefully help you out in your photo shoot. So when you're planning for your apparel brand photo shoot, you can make it happen as best as possible. So let's jump into it. So this is my 27th weekly YouTube. One of my main goals for this year was to do weekly YouTube videos, really just as like a creative box for me to check every week. I'm like, did I publish a YouTube video? Yes, I did. So this is now 6 months straight and getting into part 2 of the year. And this video like kind of covers a lot of different random stuff, but mainly it's like life as a 34-year-old entrepreneur traveler. And so it's business stuff, it's travel stuff, and it's just kind of some life stuff. So if that's what you're into, hit subscribe, keep coming back, and keep following me on this journey. This happens to be a really big week, so I'm gonna go run through this video because I got a lot of stuff happening this week. So let's jump into it. This was all in preparation for the 10-year anniversary for Live a Great Story, launching this week in 5 days. I'm launching a brand new website, brand new product collection, full rebrand, super big project that I've been working on for a couple months. And obviously the creative side, the photography was a really big piece of the new website. So I did a full day studio shoot, which was 10 hours. And then the next day we ran it back for literally a sun up to sundown lifestyle shoot out at a national state park close by. Not close by, it was 2 hours away. So we drove 2 hours to the state park the following day after this huge photo shoot, and really just learned a ton of lessons about how to organize photo shoots. But I want to talk about the studio shoot because this was the first time I've done this and I learned a lot of lessons. So I'm going to break this into a couple different pieces. I think the modeling part was a big piece of this. So for the models, I ended up hiring, using 5 models. 2 of the models were professional models that I hired, one through an agency, one just person to person. So it's the first time I've done that and actually like paying for a model inside of a studio. And if you don't know, the way that a modeling agency works is they pay the model, but then there's also an agency commission, which is usually about 10%. So the model I paid for, got him for a half day, it was $600. The other model I paid was 4 hours. So all together I paid about $1,000, $1,100 for the model, for the models, and then had 3 friends that kind of helped out. One of the models was so good. He like totally crushed it, was all hands-on, like really great, and I'm super glad that I hired him. The girl was also really good and she crushed it as well, but overall it worked out really well. And then the 3 models that I brought in were my friends. One of them is a future model for sure, she crushed it, and 2 of them also did super well, but you could definitely tell the difference between professional models and non-professional models. The first big tip that I would have is just have more hands on deck. Like, you're gonna need more people for the whole process. You're gonna need probably 2 PAs. You're gonna need someone that's like steaming the clothes. You're gonna need someone that's like organizing the models and telling them what's next and looking at the pages and be like, hey, you put this on and this on, not the models like trying to figure it out, or hanging up the stuff and getting it prepared. Like, you need that person. Then you need like the behind the scenes person who's like documenting it with their phone, or they're taking photos on film or shooting with a different type of camera, like the behind the scenes. Like, the amount of people you need is for sure more than you expect that you're gonna need. So I had like one PA, kind of like, he ended up being a PA he wasn't supposed to be, and then my girlfriend and me, and then the photographer. So there's like 4 of us, but we needed probably like 6 or 8 people to really make this much more seamless. So first things first, just overshoot on what you think you're gonna need for personnel, and then you'll figure out a way to use everybody. I think I was like, I don't know, we're not gonna have time for this, but you're gonna figure out a way that people are gonna be able to be useful and make the whole day go better. The second big tip that I would suggest is less models. So I had 5 models, which worked out, but there was models sitting around. There were, the talent was just like, you have one person shooting and you have 4 other people waiting, which really isn't ideal. I would say that maybe 3 people, 3 models is ideal. 2, you could definitely do 2, and then you just get more time on working on nailing the shot versus like waiting for other people and they're just hanging out on their phone or like behind the scenes. So I would say that definitely having lesser models is important. However, I really wanted to have a diverse selection of models, so I knew that probably 5 was too many. I tried to space them out throughout the day. Too many people for sure. So if you're gonna do this, when I do this again, for example, I'm gonna probably only have 2 models, or do different days and do 2 or 3 models, and another day do more people. So it worked out, but it wasn't ideal. One thing that I didn't take into account was how long it actually takes to plan out the shoots. Each of the looks is what you call it, is what people are wearing, and I swear it took me like 5, maybe 7 hours to figure out like blue with the green, green with the gray, gray with the green. Like it was a nightmare of figuring out exactly what everybody wore. So budgeting a lot of time for figuring out ahead of time like what those looks are. This job usually goes for a stylist, but tight budget, I had to do it myself. So that was something that I didn't account for. And then also really planning not only the outfits, but the poses. Like I had a look of things that I was going for, but I didn't specifically nail the poses, which I wish I would have done this a little better, where it's like, this is what I want, like do this. And so it's not only like wear this and go model, it's like wear this and do this pose, wear this and do this pose, wear this and do this pose. Because then I could have handed that off to a PA or a creative director, and then they could have ran that, versus like the models kind of didn't know what to do, and they were a little bit, and then of course the photographers can't direct that well while they're like taking the photos and like worried about composition and stuff. So I wish I would have planned out the poses just a tad bit more, which would have been helpful now in hindsight. But once again, like there was so much to do leading up to this that I just couldn't quite do that. Building on top of that idea were the props. So I wish I would have had less models, because that would have allowed for more props. We got a few props in there and a few like creative moves, but overall, like it would have been much more dynamic to have more props, more activity, more action. But it was just like, put this on, go, put this on, go, put this on, go, put this on, go. And I didn't have a plan for like exactly what people were going to look like. So collectively, it was about almost $2,500 of cost for the studio, the photographers, and the models, plus some other things. So it ends up being quite expensive. That was a little bit on the budget side for sure, but if you're renting a studio, you're paying models, you're paying a photographer, the costs add up. So for just those goods, it was about $2,500. We ended up doing 2 parts of this. So there was lay flat photography, which we were taking product photos, and then we're also taking on body. And then the next day we went out and shot lifestyle. So when you go to our website, there's beautiful product photos, there's people wearing them and their sizing, and then there's action shots out in public. So the lay flats, we shot 27 products in 2 hours. So we were banging out these lay flats. It was really fast and definitely needed more hands on deck for this. But we shot 2 hours for lay flats and like about 8 hours. And there's about an hour set up and some transition time. But most of the time we spent was shooting for on body, which was talent and definitely takes way longer than lay flats. One thing that I realized was that for the lay flats, you definitely need like a dedicated person who's maybe like a PA that's actually laying them out, but also someone that's creative that can like handle it, not just the photographer. Like our photographer crushed. He was super amazing, creative, talented, really organized, everything like that. We put everything out onto a piece of paper like this. So we had multiple pages like this that were the organization behind it. but really it was just a really complex process to get it all done. So needed more PAs. So thanks for checking it out. I think I could have covered this a little better. Like I said, I don't have enough time on this. It's Sunday night at 7 p.m. and I have a really big week. Live a Great Story launches on Friday. So I wanted to get this done so I could keep being on track with my weekly YouTubes. But thank you for being a part of this video, and good luck if you're going on your own photo shoot. It's a mission, but it's super fun and it was just a really good time. So hopefully some of these helped. If they did, subscribe. If not, don't subscribe. Leave me a comment, ask me a question if you have anything, and I'll catch you on next week's video.